Hey crew, it's Fit, and I'm back with another reaction video. Today we got a new drop from Brabo Gator. This is Dear God, and it's right up my alley. So let's dig in and see what's up.
Dear God, lately I've been struggling. I've got a lot of questions I don't understand. Said, Lord, I got some questions I've been struggling with.
Come on.
Why is everyone around me on some other shit? Why am I unable to put myself first? Why the ones I love always hurt me the worst? Why
It's in your stack.
create?
Not the ones you love, right? That means that you're putting your trust in the wrong people. That's what's happening there. And that can be a hard reality to hear. But if somebody is repeatedly hurting you, they are the wrong person to have in your life. Period. The end. Doesn't matter who they are. They can be your parents. They can be your siblings. They can be your spouse. If they are repeatedly hurting you with no remorse and there's no intention of changing, you should not have them in your life. Period.
Myself first. Why the ones I love always hurt me the worst? Why create loyalty if no one understands it? How do I forgive when I can't ignore the damage? How can I move on when I'm shackled to the baggage? The Bible says you'll never give me more than I can manage.
You want bad? I take money on that one, boss. It doesn't say that. What it says is that God will help you with them heavy burdens. He does not say them burdens will not be too much for you. That is something that people misconceive about that. But, right, the burdens are the purpose of life, and they're to force you to go places and do things that you are uncomfortable with. They are to force you to change patterns in your life that you are uncomfortable with. That is why you don't like them. And so there's a lot of this that is involved in the cognitive development. I talk a lot about MBTI. I have a whole playlist, Infinite Integrations playlist, that talks about how to figure out why you think the way that you do and why you get stuck in these patterns. People have patterns that they get stuck in, and there is a way out of it. I have a whole system devoted to that.
What if I crumble in front of those that believe in me? What if I'm too weak to be the person I need to be?
Now that's a very real fear, right? Hey, am I strong enough to stand where I want to stand? That's a tough one.
What if everything I know is self-belief? Will my last breath finally be a stress relief? Why'd you take my father from me when I needed one? You know how bad it hurts, he never got to meet my son. How am I supposed to keep my faith when I'm so traumatized? You know how it feels to see tears in your mama's eyes. What's the point?
That money, boss. All right, here we are once again. It is an incredibly sad thing to lose a parent, no matter what age you are, but especially when you're young. I don't know the circumstances behind it. It could have been violent. It could have been nonviolent. It could have been perfectly natural. It could have, no matter what the circumstances, it is still a painful experience. But if you are 30 years old and you are reaching back and grabbing the experience of my dad died, not to heal and to say, man, that really sucked, and to cry, like really just a soul cleaning cry about how much it really does suck to lose your parent and how unfair it is as a child to grow up without the strong male influence that helps you, without your son getting to meet his grandfather. Those are very valid feelings, and they need to be expressed. You need to purge that from yourself, and then you need to let that shit go. It sucks. It does. I mean, and I have a whole lot of experience that I talk about on another playlist about shitty things and how they suck and how they can help you learn lessons in your life. But you have to learn to let them go. If you are going back and you're picking up something from 20 years ago just to be sad about it, you are choosing to be sad. If you know that you have a trigger that causes a state, right? This trigger makes me anxious. This trigger makes me depressed. This trigger makes me sad. And then you go over there and you flick the trigger, not to heal it, not to get over it, not to get past it, but just to get a little bit of sympathy or to even feel sad. You go over there and you flick that trigger and you pull it, and next thing you know, you're sad. You are choosing to do that. You may not intentionally be choosing to do that, but know from this point forward, if you have a problem back there, it is a valid thing to go back and visit it. But do it with the intention of healing it. Do it with the intention of understanding all the viewpoints that were arranged in it, right? Like, if it was not a natural cause, figure out what your father's responsibility was. Figure out what your mother's responsibility was. Figure out what their grandparents, like, sit down and really think about what it was like to be in those shoes of all those people in that situation, no matter what the situation is. Not just necessarily the passing of a parent, but physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, whatever it happens to be. Try to empathize. I'm not telling you that you have to commiserate with your attacker to say that's whatever. No. But try to understand what was wrong in their brain when they did that, why they were tempted in that manner. It helps you to heal, to understand their motivations. And then once you sit in it, once you get through it and you feel the emotions and you acknowledge how much it sucks, you've got to let it go.
Making cancer just to kill us slow.
Like, God cast that, like, it's like sin, right? People want to go to God and be like, Father, I've sinned, I'm sorry. And he's like, all right. And he throws that shit away. And then you're like, you go back to him, you're like, yeah, but remember this one time when I did this thing? It's just like that. Like, you have to let it go.
Why make us pray?
Let me back up.
How am I supposed to keep my faith when I'm so traumatized? Do you know how it feels to see tears in your mama's eyes? What's the point of making
And I do.
cancer just to kill us slow? Why make us pray to find a cure but never let us know? Why make us say goodbye to people we're afraid to lose?
Hey, another one of my rants is about free will, right? We are here for a purpose. You have a plan to your life, but you don't have to follow that plan. God has a plan for the betterment of you. And if you submit yourself to his will and do the things that he asks you to do, things get better. But you can choose not to do that. And some of these issues have to do with that. It is entirely possible that somebody out there right now could have cured cancer, but they play too many video games. That's a real thing, because people think that my personal satisfaction is more important than finding a true purpose in life, right? It is more important for me to find a job that I detest, where I can make enough money to do what I want, just enough, and then sit on my ass and watch TV. And that's a reality, and that is a freedom of choice. But one of those people just sitting around watching Netflix or playing a video game or going to the club and being crazy, one of those people could be your cancer saver. Like, God could have had that plan in his life. Now, he's got more than one person working on the project, I'm sure. And he knows to a certain degree how you're going to choose. But you do have the choice, right? It's not like an absolute determinant. You will go down this path. Except for the bottlenecks, and I'm not going to get into that. But for the most part, you are choosing whether you walk up the spiral of choice or down the spiral of choice. Because life is a ramp, right? You start in the middle of the ramp, and you can either choose to walk up towards the light, which is a little bit harder and takes more effort, or you can choose to walk down the spiral, which takes a little less effort and seems like it's better rewards, but there's a lot of bad shit down there. But you have that choice, and that's where that whole wrap up of what is the purpose is, right? It's for you to make the correct choice, not necessarily the biblical choice, or not necessarily what everybody else thinks is the right choice, but what you personally feel like God is telling you is the right choice. And it will change your life when you submit to him. It will. Not to the Bible, not to a church, not to the Quran, not to anything, but to God himself. If you will submit to God himself, your life gets better.
Why's a ticket up to heaven make us pay these dues? What's the point in children dying?
See, that's the problem. Like, people think of these problems and these struggles as paying the dues, but they're not. Right? Here's the hard part, right? Y'all ready for the hard part? Here's the really, 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 really hard part. The struggle is the experience. Right? Now, sometimes it can be overwhelming and sometimes it can be onerous, but it is still part of the experience. It's not paying dues to have the struggle. That's what you are here for. Like, literally. You're not here to just sit around and have an easy life. If you were supposed to have an easy life, you wouldn't be here. You would be there. That's where it's easy. You don't have choices and things to worry about up there. You're down here, so you do. I know that's a difficult concept, so I'm going to let it rest right there, and y'all sit and think about that for a little bit. But you're not paying dues by going through the struggles. Right? That's the reward. The struggle is actually the reward.
And I don't get the balance. Why are they born with the mental or physical challenge? How they
Yep, here we go again. This is a great one, right? It's got me talking. Why are people born with mental and physical challenges? Why is it so difficult? Sometimes, right. Here's theology in like the compressed cycle, right? You are a very tiny expression of God, like infinitesimally small, like so small you can't even really conceive of it. Think of a cell in your body, and you are a cell in the pinky, right? So you are a part of God. You are not God. The pinky by itself, the piece of the nail by itself is not God. But you are surrounded by other pieces of the pinky and other pieces of the finger and other pieces of the bone and the sinew and the muscle. All of these pieces are part of God too. I believe since the soul is eternal, it existed somewheres prior to being here, and it will exist somewheres after it leaves here. And that prior to being here, we all, as souls, agreed to teach each other lessons. And sometimes those lessons really suck. Sometimes those lessons is what it is like to live as a handicapped child. That is one of the lessons. That's a hard lesson to learn. Can you imagine the strength it takes as a soul to decide to take on that challenge? That's what it is. And so their lessons are different from your lessons, and your lessons are different from somebody else's lessons. But we're all here to learn a lesson. And sometimes these people are here to teach other people empathy. And sometimes they're here because people are too empathetic. These are all things that we're supposed to work through, and all lessons that we're supposed to learn. And every single person that you have an interaction with ever is to teach you a lesson. Every single one. Even when you're in traffic and get cut off.
Supposed to spread your word if they can never talk. How they supposed to find their path if they can never walk? Why do Christians try to guide me with the scripture first, when every version of the Bible gives me different words?
I got a whole Bible study where I am doing something with the Bible that is not going to make people happy, but is going to make God happy. So.
Why do Muslims tell me peace is found in the Quran? Why do terrorists use Islam to hurt and bomb?
Because you are held responsible for the level of knowledge that you attain. And what that means is that you are not responsible for the circumstances you find yourself in, right? Other than the soul choice. You are born into a family, and chances are whatever that family believes is what you are going to believe. And so, you are able to find God in the Quran, you are able to find God in the Torah, and you are able to find God in the Bhagavad Gita's. You're in all the various writings all across the planet, because God is everywhere and part of everything. And there is a path up and a path down in all of them books. Every single one of them contain a path up and down. And you have to choose which one of those paths you're going to achieve. If you align yourself with truth, love, and light, which is God, or you can decide align yourself with destruction, lies, and deceit. And that's the other side. But you have that choice once again. And so you can find inside these religions God. But none of these religions can possibly fully define God. They can only give you guidebooks, like guideposts. And these guideposts are for various levels of knowledge for a large extent. So the pillars of Islam are good things. They are, and if you uphold them, you are doing God's will. But the acts that get brought about because of those are not necessarily. And so you have good people and bad people in all the religions, because there is a light and dark path in all the religions.
Can a person burn in hell if he can't comprehend it? Can pedophiles make it to heaven after they repented? I don't believe they should. What's the point of doing good and spend eternity with people you kill if you could? Why does living have a price if you can't take it with you? Why is my vision of the afterlife a naked picture? How am I supposed to fight my demons when you know that they're deceiving? If I'm guarded by your angels, why won't they help me get even?
Because of choices. I'm trying not to stop it at every line, because most of this we've already hit and we're already getting long, right? But it really does. Like, I would love to sit down and have a conversation about this, because I really do have answers to most of this. Now, I'm not going to ever claim that I have all the answers to everything or for everybody. My path and your path are probably different paths. But for some of y'all out there, y'all need to see my path, because my path is what I am laying out right here in his question to God. I am helping God to answer that, not to step into God's places, but to give the answers that God has directly given to me. The peace and the comfort that I directly gotten from God for the answers to these very same questions.
I know my heart's beating, but I can't control it. Why does my faith feel more defeated as I'm getting older? God, if you're the leader, why is the president? Whether Trump or Biden, they neither one heaven sent. Why is this country that I love fight over red and blue?
Here's another hard thing to understand. And this one was hard for me too, because who appoints the leaders? God puts the leaders into place, whether they are good or bad. They are there for a reason. We have gotten a lot of benefit from the incompetence that is currently occupying the office. We got a lot of benefits from the gregariousness of the last occupant and hopefully the next occupant, but who knows what the occupant will be coming up. But there have been benefits. More people have woken up to a lot of things than it has been possible ever, because of who is in there and what he has specifically done. And so there's that. There is other reasons. There are other proofs. But that is a major one right there. Do you know how many people are looking at this like, are you kidding me? Like, you've got, what's the Dawson Creek guy that was like, what are you doing with this guy?
Soldiers dying.
But God appoints the people, right? That was hard for me. And I have been praying for President Joe Biden every day since he's been in office. That was hard for me.
Vain because some geriatric motherfucker told him to. We're brainwashed when we watch the news. Tell us what we're supposed to do. When is Jesus coming back? I feel like it's been overdue. I'm not trying.
Where's his hands and feet at? Where's his hands and feet at? Like, where are the people out there helping people at, right?
Trying to question you, God. I'm trying to get close to you. Trying to find the answers. I can't grow unless I know the truth. Heavenly Father, do you love me like my father did?
More.
Do you love me like I love my kid?
More.
Tell me.
Because he understands who you are. Like, he knows the parts of you that you don't even know. Alright, this was great. I absolutely love this. So, y'all definitely make sure y'all get back over to Brabo Gator's page and give him a like, share, and a sub, throw him a comment, and let him know that you appreciate what he's doing as much as I did. This was great. It got me talking. I always love to get talking. I hope I helped somebody out with this today. It normally works out that way. Whenever these topics come up and I say what I need to say, somebody gets helped with it, because it is a very basic truth that we are all a part of God. Every single one of us, even the people who piss you off. And even the people who piss you off are worthy of love and respect and prayer. That doesn't mean that you have to be friends with them and hang out and eat dinner with them. But that does mean that you need to take into consideration their life and their considerations too. And this was great. We're supposed to question God and to seek and to understand what his will for us is in our life. To understand why we go through these horrible things. I have been given a little bitty glimpse into the vastness of eternity. And I do know a little bit about what is going on. I can never convince anybody of that. All I can do is tell you about it. And so I am here telling you about it. Doesn't matter to me if you listen or not. I am here to tell you. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. You are perfect, whole, and complete just the way that you are. This has been Pittstake. Peace.